Welcome to On The Sidelines. I'm John Luck with Brad McKinnon and Dom Damiano. Brad, I'm kind of surprised you're wearing the Bruins jersey after what happened in Game 2.
Listen, never give up faith on the boys, all right? It was a wild one last night.
Marchand gets paid by the game, not by the minutes he plays.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So obviously, if you're watching this after Game 2, the Bruins just had the ice mopped with them. They lose 6-1 was the final, and I mean, this thing just kind of broke down. You had all those 10-minute game majors, all the ejections.
Handing them out like candy.
Yeah. But to me, this game really turned around in the second period, and that goal at the end of the second that beat the clock, to me, that was kind of that proverbial backbreaker.
I mean, our second was horrible. We had another one of those, what was it? I think it was 15 minutes we didn't have a shot again last night. I mean, we started off strong. The first was nice. We missed wide open nets. Charlie Coyle put a dent in the post, and Bob was not playing well in the first. He showed up in the second and third, and that's kind of why we didn't get anything past him. I mean, we couldn't even get shots on net last night after the first, but we did what we did to them, but they kind of beat us up a little bit too.
And a lot of people are going to say, oh well, the Bruins have played every other day since Game 3 or 4, something like that in the Maple Leaf series, and then Florida, they had a week off before Game 1 of this series, so it's kind of weird. It feels like it was kind of crisscrossed in this series because I thought the Bruins would come out slow in Game 1 and then pick it up in Game 2, but roles reversed.
The floodgates open. Let's call it the way it is. They got their hats handed to them once they extended their lead. Right. And there was no looking back. You had one of your best players get a 10-minute game ejection. You had, like you said, Marchand gets paid for the game, not by the minutes. Zero production, if you really think about it. After the second, during that second period on. Once they took the lead, they just kept on choking, and we were the ones that paid the price watching the game.
The biggest thing watching the Bruins, and again, I'm not a hockey aficionado here, I'm just kind of picking basic things, but going back to the Maple Leaf series, it was those entries into the offensive zone that they had issues with in the Toronto series. I thought it improved in Game 1, but then in Game 2,
it was invisible.
Florida was just way too physical for the Bruins.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't there at all. I mean, we were hitting back 2 in Game 2, but we weren't getting any time in the offensive zone.
Right.
If anything, we were playing in the middle of the neutral zone more than anything.
It was terrible.
Oh yeah, no,
it
was bad
terrible.
Last night. And I mean, like I said, they basically did what we did to them. Besides the fact that they probably won most of those fights. I know Pasta. That was awesome to see. First of all, we'd rather see Marchand and Tkachuk go at it, but since he was already out of there, you had Pasta do it. I mean, that wasn't that fun seeing Pasta get his head hit while he's on the ice. He got up, hit him a few times in the chest, but I just wish he was better on his feet because he was trying. He gave it an effort, but he ended up on the ground, and as he's going down, Tkachuk got that one hit where I said, yep, Pasta lost that no matter what. Even if they stood back up and kept going, that one hit Tkachuk got right on his head. That was a good one. I like Tkachuk. He's a Marchand.
Yep.
You hate him if you don't have him. He's a great player, and he can bring that. He can bring the physicality, and he can score too. Not a lot of players can do that.
So let's talk a little bit about the post-fight analysis from the two coaches. Panthers coach Paul Maurice on the fight saying, I thought it was awesome. When it was over, they both looked like they were fine. Sorry if anyone's offended by that concept. I don't care. I thought it was awesome. Jim Montgomery, who I think gave his blessing to Pastrnak to go ahead and start the fight with Tkachuk, saying, I'm so proud of Pasta. There's so many guys out there pushing after a whistle when the linesmen are there. Pasta and Tkachuk, they just went out there and fought. That's what you like. You like your hockey players to be competitors. It almost felt like, to me, Montgomery was kind of laying a hit out there to the rest of the Panthers, saying, you know what, we've already had 2 skirmishes, 2 line brawls. Yeah, what the hell? Pastrnak, go out there, do what you can against Tkachuk, and they obliged. After that, I think, was it the 5th or the 6th goal, when you saw Tkachuk and Pastrnak looking over the bench at each other saying, we doing this? Yeah, sure,
and they got right out, dropped him right away, which was awesome. I mean, like I said, you want to see someone else fight Tkachuk, but he's not gonna. He's not gonna fight a 4th-line fill-in like Pat Maroon or Trent Frederick. Right. You're not gonna see that. He's smarter than that. He doesn't even want to be in the box for 5 minutes. The Panthers don't want him in the box for 5 minutes, let alone the 10 minutes that they were handing out like candy last night.
Yep, that's their goon.
And a lot of people
they go to.
So a lot of people after the second game are talking about Charlie McAvoy. and really the issue he's become on the ice. He's almost become a big problem for the Bruins in allowing all these goals. He was in front of Swayman on a couple of the goals in that just montage of goals in the second and third period.
It's almost like he forgot how to back check in the NHL. It's really that bad. And it's almost like he's gliding. He's not skating. You know, he's not keeping up with the level of play. It's almost like they're playing a 5-on-4 sometimes with him on the ice. I don't know what his plus and minus is, but I'm pretty sure it's not good.
After last night, it's not. That might have been his worst game he's played in a while last night. I mean, you can't blame it all on him because there was at one point he didn't have a stick. When you're a top defender like that, he's got an A on his chest.
Yeah.
You give him a stick. No matter who you are on the ice, obviously the other defender keeps his, but if you're a forward, you give your stick up to him. You know, he needs it. But like I said, that was probably Charlie McAvoy's worst game I've seen him play in a while. I know he hasn't been on top of it this whole playoffs, but he hasn't been horrible, you know.
Yeah,
but last night, it was horrible last night.
It really was.
His plus, like you just said, his plus minus probably isn't the greatest. I don't know it off the top of my head, to be honest with you. But last night was horrendous for him.
All he had to do was push people all the way. You don't have a stick. You're now the bully trying to keep everyone out of the crease so the goalie can see the puck.
And if you watched closely last night, the refs were letting him play.
Yeah.
I mean, the Montour goal, he tripped Marchand and then screams in his face. You know, that's why that brawl started, and they let him play. That's why you got to cross-check here and there. If the other team is, you got to respond back. Because, as you just said, we were too soft in front of the net. And it's not half of those goals, a few of them were on Swayman in the first four, but at least two of them weren't. You know, the defenders left him high and dry.
So let's lay out this potential scenario. We get to Game 3 in Boston on Friday night. Do you consider replacing McAvoy on that top defensive pairing, maybe moving him down to the second pairing, I think with Lindholm, and move Carlo up to the top pairing, kind of shake things up a little bit? Because Montgomery's done this, the last 3 or 4 games against Toronto and then the first 2 games against Florida.
I like that.
I do too. I'm going to be honest too, I'm not the biggest Carlo fan. He does disappoint me more than McAvoy, but right now how he's playing, I would consider that 100% for sure.
Gotta send a message. Yeah, send a message now.
And I mean, McAvoy and Lindholm, that's a great combination too.
Yep.
You know, I mean, Lindholm didn't show up much, but he shows up when it matters, you know, and hopefully McAvoy can show up a little bit more.
Send that message. Let him know that you played like crap.
Oh, yeah.
And now Carlo's taking your spot. If you want number one, you got to earn
it back.
And that's his chance to say that he belongs not just in the NHL, but on, you know, he's a playoff player, right? He didn't look like a playoff player. He looked like you played for freaking Taunton High for crying out loud.
I was just about to say, as Bill Belichick would say, it
Yeah.
looks like he played for Foxborough High
right?
down the road.
I don't know if McAvoy would make the Foxborough hockey team right now.
The other thing that came out of last night's game was Jeremy Swayman getting pulled after giving up 4 goals. Linus Ullmark replaced him in the third period. He allowed 2 more goals. A lot of people are asking the question, Game 3 in Boston, do you give Swayman the clean slate, or do you give him that game off that we thought we were going to see in Game 2?
No, you put him back in that. He is your bread and butter. If you think about it, you look back, you swept him in the regular season, you beat him 4 games, including the playoff game. This was bound to happen. I mean, Florida's a decent hockey team. We all know that. Right. Just a matter of time before they started gelling and putting the puck in the net. The guy was due for a bad game. Don't flatten the tie. I mean, the tie is not flat. Put him back in the crease. He deserved that spot. He's a lot better than your backup, and you need him between the pipes.
I couldn't agree with you more. Swayman needs to go back in. Look at his stats. I mean, after last night, he's not a 9.54 anymore, but he's still one of the best goalies in the playoff run still. You know, as you said, he's our bread and butter, 100%. He is. And it was good that he pulled him because, you're down 4-1. Just see how let Linus feel it up. You know, one of the goals was weak. I'll die on that was a trip on Marchand Hill. I will, because there were a lot of calls both ways that didn't get called last night, which I like. I like seeing old school hockey, you know, physicality, all that. But when it's right in front of the net and they score 2 seconds later and then he gets in your face and he's screaming at you and all that.
Yeah, all that crap. I mean, they were due to have a bad game.
Oh, 100%.
And this was their bad game. You got out of your system. I think we're going to see a turnaround. I think you're going to see the Bruins. You're at home ice. You get the best goaltender in the league there. And you like you said, change the line, put Carlo up there, make the other kid earn it back. It's all uphill.
We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about tanking as it appears an MLB team is already calling it a season in May.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
The Miami Marlins recently traded away their best player, Luis Arias, to the San Diego Padres. And after the trade, team president Peter Bendix surprised a lot of people by saying it was a deal they couldn't turn down. And then he surprised a lot of people by saying in the early part of May, we are unlikely to make the playoffs this year. And to me as a sports fan, if I'm watching a team, much less a baseball team, in the month of May, say the season's already over, what am I thinking here? I'm thinking this team president's a joke. This team's a joke. Why am I going to waste 3 hours of my life watching Miami Marlins baseball?
Yeah, buy a ticket, right?
6 months early too. You're saying
Unbelievable.
6 months before October. You're saying we ain't going to be there. That's horrible. That's disgraceful. It is.
I'm not 120 games left.
I'm going to say for one quick thing, I'm not changing it to hockey, but I'm gonna for a second, all right? In 2019, when the Bruins lost, the Blues were in last place. They came up. They didn't think they were going to make it, and look what happened.
Yep.
All right, so Mariners fans, owners, it's a joke for you to even say that this early. It really is.
It's like, 120 games at least left in the season? Imagine if I'm a ticket holder, if I'm a fan, I'm going to spend most of my time on the beach. If you're a baseball lover and you like to go to the games, why waste your money? You don't watch it on TV.
If that's the attitude, any of these owners around Rob Kraft, anyone, I wouldn't.
Right. It's terrible.
I would not.
Well, the worst part is, you think about the Miami Marlins, and yes, we make jokes about them. Nobody goes to the game. No one watches the game. They're an awful team. They made the wild card last year in Major League Baseball. Don't forget, they made a couple of World Series appearances. They won a World Series, right?
They did.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then what happened after that? They sold off all the pieces to start from scratch again.
Yeah, then the Miami Dolphins owner, who had the team, sold it right after that. Like you said, got rid of everybody. They only fill that stadium because you have the American League teams going, let's call it like it is. Otherwise, no one's going to go and watch the Cincinnati Reds or even the Braves go in there, to watch them play. And now you're going to say this? That's crazy.
Well, baseball has an issue in the fact that they don't have a lot of superstar players. You mentioned the Braves. They at least have Ronald Acuna Jr. The Reds have Ellie De La Cruz. So there are players you can go ahead and spend $4 or $5 to go watch.
Right.
But Miami Marlins ballpark, they have a nightclub in left field because the team's awful and they're trying to shine a shiny object in front of their fans' face.
But would you go if I don't care if Acuna's playing at all. I'm not going to go if you read that in the paper. That tells me you're going to bring up every kid from AA or AAA to fill a spot. They can't handle a major league ground ball because you've already given up on the season. That's my opinion.
The only reason why I would do something like that, cheap date. That's it. If the Red Sox owner said, hey, we wish the Red Sox owner would say this stuff so we could can them, but...
I'd go to Burger King for a cheap date before you see the Marlins.
Hey, they could be $9 like the Red Sox.
Yeah, they could, Right.
But there's a difference between perception. You look at the Red Sox, you can kind of surmise what they're doing, trying to bridge to the next, bunch of positive years. The Marlins just flat out said, yeah, we're not going to make the playoffs this year. Looking at the standings as of May 9th, the Marlins are 16 and a half games back of the division. They're not going to catch the Braves. They're a juggernaut. No. But they're 9.5 games back in the wild card. You're telling me, if I'm a player for the Marlins, you don't have belief in me?
Exactly.
You got now you're going to bring 6 more months to catch up on that. So you get 2 games a month on hand. You could make it into the playoffs.
You could, but the way he's talking, it's in my impression, he's going to start bringing up AA, AAA kids to fill spots.
Yeah, that's not
they
the attitude.
They can't even field the fly ball.
Attitude at all.
You know what I'm saying? You've already given up on your season.
If I'm a player for the Marlins, I'm looking at Peter Bendix, the team president, saying, screw you, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
Trade me, pay me, whatever. Why am I going to go play for you with the expectation that we're not going to make the playoffs? What, is this supposed to be some Angels in the outfield thing where you go ahead and turn it into a Disney movie? No, flat out, this owner said his team isn't making the playoffs, so why should Marlins fans care? And judging by the attendance at the ballpark, no one cares. No one watches. The Marlins might as well just move back up to Montreal because Miami doesn't want them.
And they want a team back up in Montreal, I thought I read.
It's crazy. It's not like it's the summer. It's not barely even the spring yet. We're saying this, you know. I mean, it is spring, but we're barely seeing the weather. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's way too early to
more
call
games
that.
to go.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
Absolutely nuts.
We're going to take a break and talk about another jackass in Miami when we talk about Pat Riley as he drops real talk on the Heat.
There have been many members of this corporation who have served voluntarily and spent many hours of their personal time to work toward creating a local network with varied programs to serve the community of Bridgewater. The BTV Access Corporation over the years has provided a platform for many individuals to express their creative ideas and different programs of interest to this community.
This is a community facility. BTV Cable Access is here to present and to represent all the voices in town, all of the varying attitudes and ideas and feelings that Bridgewater has.
In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome back to On The Sidelines. Apparently we're the Miami edition. We're talking about the Marlins, and now we get to talk about another genius in Miami. In Pat Riley, he had his end-of-season press conference after the Celtics gentlemen swept the Heat out of the playoffs, and he had some interesting quotes here. We're going to start off with what he said on Jimmy Butler, who missed the series against the Celtics. On Butler playing more, Pat Riley said, "There are things you have to look at. Who moves the needle the most on our team is Jimmy. He is an incredible player. What I said about change is he's going to have to give some thought for what we really want it to be. On a contract extension for the same player, we don't have to extend Butler for a year. If he requests an extension, as he will, we can accept it or say we're going to think about it. We've not made a decision about it. We have not discussed that internally." And really the quote that got on all of social media, because Butler said if he played against the Celtics would be home, and the Knicks would be home as well, saying, this is Pat Riley, "If you're not on the court playing against Boston or the Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut in your criticism of those teams." And then he went on to call Tyler Hero a fragile player because he broke his hand in the past and has had a couple of injuries as well. I talked about the Marlins owner being a complete moron.
You said a different word that we might want to say
here.
is what Pat Riley is.
Marlins owner is a moron,
awesome.
or the team president's a moron. Pat Riley's just a jackass.
There it is.
Why do you go ahead and criticize Jimmy Butler, who is the reason you got to the NBA Finals? You're criticizing Tyler Hero, who, I mean, he's going to be your future. Him and Duncan Robinson and maybe Bam Adebayo, who knows, and Jaime Jaquez Jr., that's your future. You're going to go ahead and criticize all of these players who brought the Miami Heat and the stupid Heat culture into national prominence. You're going to go ahead and railroad them? Good luck getting any future talents, except for the fact it's Miami. No one really wants to play for you, Pat Riley. They want to play on South Beach and get the no taxes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's crazy that he even is talking bad about Jimmy, because isn't he the reason they won the play-in game?
Yeah.
Didn't he have a big part in that?
He played.
He hurt his knee.
Yeah.
It's not his fault that he hurt his knee. He always goes crazy. I mean, one of the games he played the Celtics last year, the year before, he was out there for just about the whole goddamn game. He had like 3 minutes off the whole game. He is their star. He's their Brown. He's their Tatum, and you don't really see our coaches talking bad about him. You'll hear a little criticism, but not as bad as this. Like, I don't know. It's ignorant to talk. Like you just said, those are your future stars. I know Jimmy Butler isn't a future star. He is a star, but all the other players that he badmouths too, yeah. Tyler Hero breaks his hand. It happens.
Yeah.
That's basketball. That's stuff out of their control. And you're getting mad that your players got hurt. That's not a good coach aspect.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. I better move my seat. How many world championships does he have?
0.
No, as a coach in
Pat Riley?
Pat Riley.
Oh, multiple.
Multiple, right?
Thanks to.
I think as good as a player he is, he's also, I think, at times overrated. He's not a Tatum, right? He's not an Embiid.
Who, Jimmy? Yeah, all right.
You know what I
thought
mean?
we were talking about the coach for a
Right?
second, yeah.
No, what I'm getting at is
I was
Pat.
confused.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm getting at Pat Riley is a legit winner. He knows how to win. So he picked on the guy, and to me, compared to the Marlins, it's like night and day. They're gonna, like you said, the Texans. People are gonna go to play for if you give him a contract to go down to Miami and play. He'll find a player if this showboat. And I remember the time he was trying to win against the Celtics. He stepped back. He could have laid it up for 2, and he tried to take the big 3-point shot and missed it, hit up the rim. Yeah. I'm like, what a prima donna you are taking that shot. You still had time in the clock. You could have laid it up. He was all by himself. He wanted to be the big game winner. I believe there was not a lot of time, maybe a minute. Could have laid it up. Could have forced a foul. Because I hate that anyway when they do that. But as far as Pat Riley goes, he's a winner. If he's going to pick on someone to get the head out of his butt and tell him to play ball, then you better step up and play ball.
I mean, why not do that during the series, though, and try to get a fire under Jimmy to get him in?
I think he's mad because he was expecting him to step up, and he didn't step up. Yeah. And Hero's hurt. He's hurt. That was kind of borderline. But the guys are winning. He knows how to win championships.
Pat Riley is a front runner. Let's not forget, you talk about the championships he won. I could probably win a championship with Magic Johnson on the court. I could probably win a championship with Dwayne Wade and Shaquille O'Neal on the court.
But you still have to get all those egos to bond together to buy into the system so you can win a world championship, is my point. He has Hero, who's a decent player, but he's none of those other guys you just mentioned before. He belongs in the NBA. He got hurt. Did he go a little too far with his criticism? Yes. But the other guy, I'm not a Butler fan. That's as you can tell. That's one thing about him, because again, he's a prima donna. You can get people who will take the tax break in Miami to Florida, go down there, play for the Heat for the right money, and make that team competitive.
But the culture has changed in basketball, and I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
You go back to when Pat Riley was coaching when he was younger. What were NBA players all about? Getting the championships.
Right.
Maybe winning an MVP at some point in their career.
Right.
Now, what are they about?
Big
We'll get a
threes.
championship. Cool. I want that Supermax contract. I want to prove that I'm the best. I want to be an all-NBA player. I want to be on all defense. That's what the NBA is all about now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the reason I think Pat Riley went nuclear on his team is because he lost to the Celtics.
Oh, yeah, he got bounced. I'd be mad, too.
He's
He's calling out the players.
He's still
I'd call
living in the
players.
80s.
I don't know if he's living in the 80s. I think he wants to win a world championship to Miami. When you have Butler playing, he's a clown. Then you have the other guy getting hurt. Did he go over a little bit with that? But he's calling those guys out to play. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a game that you love, and you're not coming through. He's already a certified winner as a championship, as a coach. He's already proven it. What else? You just have to step up and play. He's not like this other clown from the Marlins who's been to the playoff a couple times.
Never won.
Well, I don't even think he probably was involved when they won. Right. You know what I mean? And you got Pat Riley. Do Celtics fans like ex-LA Laker coaches or anybody? No, we don't. But if you think about it, this guy's a winner. He knows how to win.
All right, well, I raised my blood pressure enough. So
I'm sorry.
we're going to end the buzzer there. We have a lot more to come on the Sidelines Overtime, but we do want to tell you about what we have coming up on Friday, as we are making our radio debut on WVBF 1530 AM, 99.7 FM.
Yep.
And if you're not near the area, you can go ahead and actually listen to us on streaming. Just download the TuneIn app and search WVBF. You can talk in, or you can call and talk to us live. And this takes place from 12 to 1 each and every Friday. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll talk about the Tom Brady roast using super kid gloves after that Netflix roast. We'll also talk about the Celtics and even first pitches. We have more after this.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it,
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got, or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Welcome back on the Sidelines Overtime. Here with you, John Luck, Dominic Damiano, Brad McKinnon, and we talked a lot of about Miami sports. So let's bring it home here a little bit and talk about former Patriots quarterback Tom Brady and the whatever that was on Netflix.
The butchering.
You could call it a roast. You can call it a butchering. You can call it whatever you want. But that was some memorable television on Netflix that took place this past Sunday night. Among the roasters, you had Nikki Glaser, Julian Edelman, Drew Bledsoe, Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft. The list goes on, Kim Kardashian, but you may not see that on the repeats.
You won't see the booing on the repeats.
Right.
You'll still see Kim on the repeats.
Right. Over and over again.
Yeah.
The roast overall, what do we make of that?
So as a Patriots fan, I loved it. I did, because you had Edelman up there and Gronk all saying, "Coach, I've been waiting for this."
Right,
you know?
like like mental therapy.
Oh yeah, no, it was good, and it was cool to see. We all know now that there's tension between Kraft and Bill Belichick, because he even admitted it during it. I forget exactly what he said, but he said, "I was trying to stay away from some people," and obviously he was talking about Kraft, and then Bill, and then Kevin Hart gets them both to go up there and do a shot. If you rewatch it, there's even a picture of it. Kraft was shaking so bad, half of his drink was on his left hand. And in the picture, yeah, he was hammered for sure. And he's older, I get that.
Yeah.
But you could tell, even though he was the first one up there, you could tell he didn't want to be there for that,
Yeah,
in my
it was
opinion.
uneasy. He always said that he was one of those guys that took everybody for their word, like they kept on picking on Hernandez and,
Giselle.
Giselle.
She wasn't too happy about that, I hear.
Nope,
I
can't imagine.
No, I didn't.
Brady's taking shots every time they're talking about certain
He was
nights,
nervous too. But you saw how Kraft was, like you said, Kraft was nervous. And the Hernandez thing, I first thought it went too far. Then I thought about it for a minute. The guy's a murderer. He killed people. So you're crapping on him a little bit on Worldwide, the new Worldwide leader, Netflix. He deserved to get picked on. I mean, was it getting stupid? Yeah. But again, so you're picking on a mass murderer.
And I could be wrong too, but from what I heard, he did what he did to himself because his family would get a little bit more money.
Oh,
with
really?
the Hernandez thing, yeah. I could 100% be wrong there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it did go a little too far how much they were bringing it up. But as you just said, he murdered one person. That's without a question, and he could have possibly even murdered two
We
others.
don't know that.
You know,
He did do that they did cry out in that documentary they had on Apple TV a couple times. Coach, I want to do this. Can you help me out? And they kind of brushed it off.
do like how
Sorry about that.
when Bill came up, he said, "Yeah, this isn't the roast of Bill Belichick. That was the 10 episode series on Apple TV. You know, that was funny. He did good there."
It was weird watching Bill actually have a good time,
Oh, yeah.
especially before the roast with Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady in the back. You could tell he's starting to kind of ease in a little bit more to the media, especially now that he's
he has
gonna.
no job. He has to be a little bit nicer.
Well, he has to come out of his shell and not be a hard ass anymore.
No,
you know?
that's the best way to put it right there. Come out of your shell, you know, because
exactly.
Tom Brady. You're not going to find a Tom Brady again unless you go to the goddamn Chiefs. But they got Andy Reid. They're not going to hire you there. You know.
You noticed that when Belichick was talking, of course he's reading off the teleprompter. You could see the admiration in Brady's face as he's speaking. Even though he knows, because he admires what he turned him into in his coaching staff, which is, of course the back coaches never get as much credit as they should. They're always the head coach. Is what he did to turn him into such a phenomenal ball player and get him to where he was, and then Brady just ran away with the rest. And you could see the admiration in Brady's eyes when he was talking. He's probably lit anyway, but he's a lot more relaxed.
I feel like this is kind of a group therapy session for the Patriots because in June they're going to have that Brady night at Gillette Stadium where all these people are going to be at the same place. So maybe this was kind of that, cocktail hour, if you will. Kind of get the awkward feelings out of the way. It's going to be weird with Belichick and Kraft. Try and smooth some cracks over. You're not going to fix everything in one night. So I think we all liked the roast for the most part, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it was more mental therapy. Look, sort of laying on the couch, you're all, you're all on the wrapper. You got a couple drinks, you can let loose, but like we talked about before, Belichick was like going with the flow. He was laughing when they were crapping on him. He was the tension was gone. It was well needed.
So we all liked the roast for the most part. There was one person who didn't. And that was Christopher Russo, also known as Mad Dog. You can see him on First Take, MLB Network. You can listen to him on Sirius XM. He had this to say on the roast, and I quote, "How did anybody spend money for that nonsense?" I can't do the Mad Dog voice, so just imagine me screaming. "That was a piece of garbage. Enough with the language, Kevin Hart. I don't care if he's 5'1". Enough of that, too. Here's the bottom line. You can use all the humor you want and all the bad language you want. Be funny. Be funny. Nobody in America was funny. It was the worst piece of garbage I've ever seen in my life." That was on First Take. You can watch Mad Dog each and every weekday at 11 a.m. on High Heat.
He must have missed the Kill Tony part.
Right.
I forget how to say his last name. It starts with an H, but he has a show called Kill Tony. The dude sitting next to Dana. He must have missed that part. There were some really good.
There were a lot of good things.
Oh, that Nikki girl too. I never knew who she was before that. To be honest with you,
funny.
Oh, she was great.
Oh my God, what a segment she had.
Her telling her boyfriend what she would do just for that lottery ticket.
Access TV.
Just lottery ticket. It was a lottery ticket. That's all I'm talking about.
That's right. She wanted that lottery ticket.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, so Nikki Glaser is someone who's on all the roasts on Comedy Central. She kills it. When you give her an uncensored platform like that, good things are going to happen. Jeff Ross, he went a little overboard there.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about the Kraft thing, but the O.J. Simpson
How
uniform,
he came
that
out.
was kind of weird.
No, when I saw that, I was like, this dude just died 2 weeks ago. And he's probably a murderer too, but he tried to make something funny that wasn't that funny.
So there
Back
was
from hell, he says.
There was one joke from Glazer who appeared on the Howard Stern show, and she said, or she was, giving the jokes she cut out, and one of them was, "Tom, I love your work that you've done on your face. Seriously, slow down. What is happening with your cheeks? You look like a Ken doll that was microwaved. You have deflating things, so stop." Or you love deflating things, so stop.
Oh, yeah.
To me, Nikki Glaser won the night. I didn't watch the special on Netflix, but I could kind of relive it on social media. And I mean, I think Tom Brady maybe regrets it in the end, but at the end of the day, he made a lot of money. Netflix made a lot of money, so everybody wins.
I think Tom enjoyed it. I do think he did, especially when you had Drew Bledsoe up there. He loved every moment of that because Drew's even reminding him how, hey, Drew got him his ring, all that stuff, you know. I mean, Tom got Drew his ring and all that.
A lot of Bostonians were there.
Oh, yeah.
Would you ever do a roast? Or would you ever be the roastie?
I mean, if I was famous enough, I would.
That's a good
Words
idea.
don't hurt me. Sticks and stones may break my bones. You know, I was growing up on that, and that sticks with me, you know.
Right.
I mean, look at me. You can say plenty about me just off my appearance, and I
hear
don't
you
care.
there.
Hey, listen, it's the playoff beard, all right?
Oh, that's cool.
Well, Dom started attacking my appearance before the show, but
No,
another
I
story for another
didn't.
time.
Did I hurt your feelings, John? I'm sorry.
All right, let's talk about Game 1 of the Boston Celtics Cleveland Cavaliers series, the Eastern Conference semis. Boston just ran roughshod over the Cavs, 120-95, and it wasn't even that close. Jaylen Brown led the way, followed by Derek White, but a lot of people are talking about Jason Tatum, who didn't hit one three-pointer, was held under 20 points. Do you have an issue with that? Because a lot of people are saying it's Jason Tatum. He needs to score 40 or 50 points in the playoffs.
Not when you have a team around Jason Tatum like that.
You don't need that every game with a player like that.
Right.
Like you just said, you have all these other guys around him. Half of them are superstars for crying out loud.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And you're missing your big guy who wears a boot that goes up to my hip or on his ankle.
Oh, yeah.
No Porzingis.
Right, exactly.
That's who
So
he's
when he
talking
comes
about.
back, he knew that. So when he comes back, you're going to have that big guy that you didn't have in the finals before to help out clean up a lot of stuff. I mean, Tatum, you're getting paid to put the basket in the cylinder, as Johnny Most would say, and you're not getting it done. But White, Brown, a lot of Holiday, you have a lot of good players around him, thank God. Otherwise, we could be done. I was worried when Cleveland started to take off for a little bit and they went on a little run. But then after that, it seemed like the Celtics said, okay, no more CYO basketball. We're going to start stopping you
At
now.
least there was only one run like that compared to the other series.
Exactly.
Miami did have a few games where they went on multiple runs, 16-2, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, we caught back up besides in one of those games, but you don't like seeing more than one run against
Cleveland's
the Celtics.
not a bad team.
No,
I
not
mean,
at
they
all.
got talent.
Not at all.
But you could see them as soon as they realized they couldn't. They were over by, they're out by 10 points. You could just see the bodying list, and they were just throwing up. They were just throwing up shots. They were like, they were bound to hit one of them. You know what I mean? Because they couldn't. Holiday was phenomenal. I love watching that guy play defense. Absolutely love it. And Brown's Brown. Brown's the most underrated player, I think, in the NBA.
So Drew Holiday had 14 points in the win. Jaylen Brown had 32 points, plus 4 of 6 from the three-point line. But to me, there are a couple of things to look at here. You talk about Cleveland being a good team. To get to this point, they needed to win Game 7 against the Magic. And they also had a Game 6 with Donovan Mitchell scoring all 15 points in the quarter. Realistically, this Cavs team is all about Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
There essentially was a no-show with Darius Garland only scoring 14 points. Jared Allen's been out with a rib injury. You have to wonder if we get to Game 3 or 4 and it's kind of a season-on-the-line situation. Do we see Allen back in the lineup? But defensively, this Celtics team is ridiculous. 2 quarters holding the Cavaliers under 20 points, which in the playoffs is almost unspeakable. And the Celtics have done this, I think, 3 or 4 times in the playoffs so far, and they've had 4 victories of 20-plus points.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, when it came to the Miami series, I said in 5, and I don't care that I was right. I do think this could be the one series that we do sweep if we play how we do. I really do.
So the thing
because
is,
they're not a bad team.
Right.
They're the better team than Miami, but how we played them Game 1, I don't think that Game 2 will go anywhere like it did versus Miami.
Yeah, they're going to have to throw up a lot of miscues.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like the first time playing. I mean, you won by 20.
Yeah.
You basically embarrassed them in your own place. And like you said, besides Weber, everyone else, all the other good players are injured. You're playing with a bunch of college kids, if you think about it.
So I think the only way the Cavs get back in the series is doing what the Heat did in Game 2, launching a bunch of threes. Max Strus, who killed the Celtics last year as a member of the Heat when Jimmy Butler actually played with the Heat in the playoffs, Strus had 5 points on 2 of 8 shooting from the field and 1 of 5 from the three-point line. So I wonder, as this series goes on, if we see more pick-and-roll play with Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell, at some point you have to treat Mitchell as a decoy, and the rest of these players for Cleveland have to be contributing factors, because the last 3 games of the Magic series, they weren't.
Yep.
And Game 1, there was nobody except Donovan Mitchell, who had 33 points.
You have to go on the playbook. You nailed it on the head. You gotta You got to start hitting from the wing, which they didn't do. You got to, like you said, feed a little give and go. Cycle a lot more down low, because it's more of a hockey term, but you know what I mean. They don't have the speed or the talent to keep up with the Boston Celtics.
No, they don't, and that's why.
So now they're reaching in their playbook. Oh my God, we lost by 20. What do you have? Go to page 37. I think we got to play in that. What else are you going to do?
Like John just said, their best bet is using Mitchell as a decoy and hoping that the other people can get open for threes and drain a couple here or there.
And we already saw they can't.
Yeah.
You know, even with clear shot, even with 5-footers, 6-footers, 2-footers, if there's a white jersey in their face, they choke. It's the truth. I'm not saying it because I'm a Celtics fan.
No, that's what happened.
I just defended Pat Riley for crying out loud in the last segment.
Oh, you did.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
1980s Tom would not be happy with you. Right?
Yeah.
So Game 2 comes up on Thursday night, Game 3 on Saturday night at 8:30, and Game 4 in Cleveland on Monday night.
How spoiled we are. Bruins one night, Celtics the next. How spoiled we are.
Yeah, that's why we don't like our college teams that much sometimes, because we're so spoiled with the 5 major franchises we have in this small
I mean,
state.
even our soccer team goes pretty far a lot, too.
They
it's
usually
pretty crazy.
compete.
Yeah, the Revs aren't doing good this year, though.
Well, I don't follow that at all. Like I've said, I'm a fair weather basketball and baseball fan. If it's October or the playoffs, I watch. But I watch a few games here and there for basketball. But baseball, I know I have a Red Sox hat on, but it's the Boston Bee that I care about the most. All right.
It's okay. The Red Sox don't watch their games either, but that's another story for another time.
Oh boy.
There's big news coming out of the WNBA and the fact that the players and teams now are going to have charter flights for the next 2 seasons. This is a big deal because a lot of the players who are flying commercial to go from game to game and back home and all that, their bags are getting lost and they'd have to wait 13 hours to have their baggage claimed.
Yeah.
But now it looks like we're starting to see a little bit more equality here as far as how the NBA and WNBA teams actually transport each other.
It's about time.
Yeah,
it's about time. How long do we have to wait for soccer for the women finally get paid, and they're just as competitive as the men? And now thank God the WNBA or someone in their ultimate wisdom said, "Hey, why don't we get charter flights like the men?" And you know what I mean?
They should have had it the whole time, especially when the owners have the money for that.
Right now you have your brand new, I call Larry Bird, the new girl from
Caitlin Clark.
Thank you.
Yep.
She is gonna save that league.
Oh, she is.
Her, and then someone else is gonna follow, and I mean it's competitive basketball, but at a woman's level, it's still fun to watch if you like basketball. 100%. You know.
It's great basketball to watch because they take the action inside the three-point line, and it's a lot of running to the basket, really crunching in on the paint. So the Players Association president for the WNBA, Nneka Ogwumike, had this to say, saying, "Our league is growing. The demand for women's basketball is growing. That means more eyes on us, which is what we want, but that also means more protection from the organization that we play for." So you mentioned Caitlin Clark. That's a big reason that this happened, because of all the fans walking through the airport. But don't forget, last year you had the issues with Brittany Griner when she came back from Russia, and she was getting verbally harassed by people in the airport when she was going on a commercial flight to go to a game, to go do her job, play basketball.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Plus you had Breonna Stewart, who had to be crushed in behind a seat, and she, I think, is 6'4", somewhere around there, but still, that's a lot of height to go ahead and crush behind a seat. And I think she was the one that had to wait 13 hours.
Probably not even first class of poor things, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a first class person. I'm not saying that. But when you're a professional athlete, if you're going to be commercial, you might as well throw them up front, especially when half of them are over 6 feet.
Free drinks. Free drinks, depending on the airline.
And these are players that make between $50,000 and $70,000 a year. Yeah. You think about what Jaylen Brown signed for with $60 million for a season, and a lot of these players in the WNBA make between $50,000 and $60,000.
Right. What was the rookie contract? $75,000, I thought, for Caitlin Clark. Her first 3 years, something like that.
Plus the contract, I think, with Nike.
Did she get Gator? Well, she got some good endorsements.
State Farm.
Yeah.
Like a good neighbor.
But
Clark is there.
That's the best thing the league could do, is start respecting these professional basketball players and get them their own chartered flight and make them feel like professionals, you know? And then, like you mentioned in that, talking about security's big, because when they were picking on the girl that came back from Russia, there's still those psycho fans that just want to get in these people. They're human beings just doing their job. You know, as much as they're getting paid, they're athletes and they earn their paycheck. I want to get paid what she's getting paid, right? But at the same time, you also got those wackos that want to meet you in the airport and get in your face. Can you sign this? I'm going to miss my flight.
Well, don't forget, there was a reporter in Indiana that got suspended. I think it was Greg Doyle, the guy who broke the Deflategate thing. He got suspended for being an absolute creep show with Caitlin Clark at the introductory press conference.
There you go. The stuff has to stop. They're good. I'm glad, thank God, we haven't seen no problems so far this year. Besides, of course, the Russian thing that happened in Russia, but as far as a major problem with that league, and now they're trying to police it the right way. Well, that's good.
Well, it's good to see some growth in it because it's needed. It is for the women,
especially with an influx of players like Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso. So a lot of great talented players there, and obviously Caitlin Clark as well. We'll take a quick break here on Overtime. When we come back, we'll talk about maybe the world's worst first pitch that even had a mascot stunned.
3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
There have been many members of this corporation who have served voluntarily and spent many hours of their personal time to work toward creating a local network with varied programs to serve the community of Bridgewater. The BTV Access Corporation over the years has provided a platform for many individuals to express their creative ideas and different programs of interest to this community.
This is a community facility. BTV Cable Access is here to present and to represent all the voices in town, all of the varying attitudes and ideas and feelings that Bridgewater has.
In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome back. We're going to end the show with the first pitch. I guess that works. Zach Edey, the star player from Purdue, who's in the NBA draft this season or this summer, threw a first pitch at a Cubs game, and this thing was ridiculous. This pitch went about 3 feet wide of the mascot, Clark the Cub, and he was confused by the pitch, I think, because you're ready for the pitch. All of a sudden, it comes, and he just goes,
"Where is it?"
I thought you were an athlete. I thought you had talent.
Oh, that's funny.
So this brought up memories of, Carly Rae Jepsen, 50 Cent. There was even Miss Texas who rolled the ball on a first pitch, as a ballet dancer. And then also at Wrigley Field, Conor McGregor, this time he went the other way and threw it almost into the opposing team's dugout. First off, worst first pitch you've seen, and could you actually do a first pitch?
The worst one I've ever seen was a 50 Cent one. Personally, I watched it. It was a 50 Cent one. He was far left. Not as bad as this one, but he was far left.
The best one I ever saw was on the movie Ballers with Dwayne, with The Rock. He was a sports agent, and he was trying to make it up to this old buddy of his that he ruined his football career, so he had connections with the Marlins. And he threw out the pitch and hit the photographer like 6 people over to the right, hit him right in the testicle fortitude. I would say that was the best one I ever saw.
I think I've seen a meme of that.
Oh, that was funny. Oh, that was the best one.
So 50 Cent was bad, but I think we were talking about this before the break. There were 2 artists at Fenway Park, musicians, who did a first pitch not too long ago, and they threw from the mound, and somehow, some way, it ended up on top of the netting behind the backstop.
Jeez.
So you think about how much you have to let that thing fly.
Oh, you really got to screw up to get it all the way up there.
Right, but I think the other one was Conor McGregor. And, not fictional-wise, he was probably one of the worst.
Conor McGregor probably threw it at the enemy dugout on purpose.
Yeah,
so
he
let's be
probably did.
honest with
He's
him.
a punk.
Oh yeah.
If you get hit by a pitch from Conor McGregor, are you going to say anything? Like, that's Conor McGregor. You're not going to challenge him.
Oh, thank you.
Give me a
Thanks
thing
for
of
the
proper
ball.
12. I need it for the playoffs. The Bruins are making me drink at like 19 again.
So could you actually do a first pitch, you think?
It'd be close. It probably wouldn't be on target, but I'd make it the 90. It's 90 feet, right? 90 yards.
Major League, I think
46
it's
and a half.
60.
60, I'm sorry. I'm
60?
thinking Little League 60. 59 and a half feet.
I'd probably make that. I don't think it would be accurate.
I'd warm up.
But
I'd warm up.
oh, I'd definitely give the whole rotator cuff a little warm up for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
That's
I'd
without a
definitely warm up.
question. But well, maybe I'll go out there and be like Gronk and just spike it in the ground and
Oh, there you go. That would be
act
different.
like a big dummy, you know, like he was at the roast of Brady.
Or do the Miss Texas thing and just roll the ball to the plate.
I would love to see that. That'd be so funny.
We'll have to practice one day.
Yeah, there we go. Right in the parking lot.
I was just about to say, right out there.
Yeah, we got
pretend like
grass
we're
out
playing
there.
bocce or
Sure,
something.
my car's on the other side of someone else's car.
Keep the Cadillacs out of this.
Thanks for watching On The Sidelines Overtime. We'll see you next week.